Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are on a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com.
Well, he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. He's a real athlete, so give him your respect. He's got intensity, integrity, intelligence too. Oh, it's true, it's damn true. So if he ever finds you and you're chanting you suck, then he'll douse you in dairy with his big milk truck. And with one angle slam, he'll lay you out on the floor. So listen up, it's time to go. It's the Kurt Angle Show.
Hey, this is Kurt Angle, and welcome to the Kurt Angle Show. On the show today, we'll be discussing Survivor Series 2001, when the WWE and the Alliance faced off in a 10-man elimination tag match where the winner takes all. But first, I want to introduce to you my co-host, Paul Bromwell. How you doing today, Paul?
Hey, Kurt, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to talk about this. This is a huge moment in your career, and it's the 20-year anniversary. The tour continues for you. It's Survivor Series 2001, and it marks the end of the invasion angle as the WWF team takes on the Alliance in a 5-on-5 elimination match. And we're going to discuss how we get there, but I'm going to ask all of you to go ahead and fire up your Peacock machine because this match is a long one, and we're going to watch it together today. So let's get you all started right up front here. So you want to find season 15 of the Survivor Series and go to 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 25 seconds. I'll say it again, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 25 seconds. And as you're doing that, go ahead and hit pause, and you'll be right where Kurt and I are going to start here in a minute. And while we give them a chance to do that, Kurt, we left off 2001 with you coming off of Unforgiven, where you won the WWF Championship in your hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, over Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then on Raw the next night, you retain the title over Booker T in Columbus. Then you move on to SmackDown in Dayton. You team up with The Rock to defeat the Dudleys when Booker T, Test, and Shane all interfere. And both of you end up going through a table. This isn't exactly the crowning achievement of being the WWE champion that you had, right? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, getting heat and putting both of the very top baby faces in the company through tables in the same night was probably not a good idea because you're chancing injury with both of your top baby faces. So I would prefer one or the other, but not both.
Well, Kurt, let's get it going. As I said, this is going to be a long match for us to watch together today, but an exciting one. This is big time, so let's get it started.
I feel strongly that saving money is important. You know, if it's not something we worry about now, boy, we are really going to worry about it later. And I want to help you get out of debt faster and do it with cheaper monthly payments. I'm talking to you if you're in a 30-year loan. Now is the time to take years off of your loan. We're routinely helping our listeners cut 5, 10, even 15 years off their loan. And you can do this without perfect credit with no money out of pocket. You've just got to start at savewithconrad.com.
And again, Peacock Machine, 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 25 seconds. We got promos. We got video packages, all the entrances. We're going to go quiet when we start it, though, Kurt, because you're going to have a fun little Vince diatribe in the background, and I want everybody to hear this. The whole thing is just an awesome production. So with all that said, let's get it going, man. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
All right. Before you men go out there tonight, there are a few things I have to get off my chest. Firstly, I have every confidence that Team WWF will be victorious here tonight. Every confidence in you. However, I am a pragmatist, and I realize I could be looking at a group of losers. And if that were to happen here tonight, if you were to lose this match tonight, I would like for you to remember a number of things. There isn't one WWF fan anywhere in the world that would ever forgive you. Not one. Should you lose this match tonight, each and every one of you would be personally and professionally disgraced. Should you lose this match tonight, then all of you, and each one individually, would justifiably be ridiculed by your own peers and your own family members. Should you lose this match tonight, then what does it say for those who have preceded you? Those who have passed on, yet their spirit still lives here in the World Wrestling Federation. Names like Buddy Rogers. Names like Dr. Jerry Graham. Names like Gorilla Monsoon. Andre the Giant. Hi, Chief Peter Maivia. What would that say? Now, collectively and individually, you might be saying, I know you've got something for us, Mr. McMahon. I've been hearing you talk about how Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to jump to the World Wrestling Federation tonight. Well, for the purposes of that notion, I want you all to consider that notion total and complete utter BS. Because tonight, all of you fight for the highest stakes you've ever fought for. It doesn't get any higher than fighting for survival. And tonight, each and every one of you will fight for survival. And you'll feel that exhilaration that you can only feel by laying it all on the line. So tonight, I've chosen each and every one of you. I've chosen you to participate in this Survivor Series elimination matchup. And by you joining this team, tonight, you will honor the World Wrestling Federation. Now go out there and do it. Let's do that. Come on.
All right, Kurt, I'm gonna play a little bit more of this because they're gonna give kind of the background story of how we got here, and I think it'll be fun for everyone to kind of hear how we got there. Your team just walked down. It's winner take all. Here goes. You ready?
Yes.
One company will be out of business at the conclusion of this next main event. And here's how these 10 came together for the Survivor Series.
I've had it with this alliance crap, this invasion crap. What I'm proposing is that Survivor Series, there's one match. That match will determine which entity will finally survive. It's winner take all. Winner take all. You want to put it all on the line? You're on.
One match, winner take all. The WWF stays in business or the Alliance stays in business. My God! My God, what is this? Oh my God, don't tell me!
Kurt Angle has joined the Alliance.
My God, it can't be!
It's true.
For the love of God! Our worst nightmare has manifested itself. Jericho and The Rock have completely disintegrated.
Someone from the Alliance Survivor Series coming over to the World Wrestling Federation. Stone Cold Steve Austin!
Did you see the way the Alliance members were looking at me?
See, DTA now stands for Don't Trust Austin.
Austin just stunned Angle! Now what the hell is that?
The question is, who's defecting from the Alliance? You know what? It's nobody. My father has done a masterful job of planting a seed so that the Alliance breaks down from within.
But I've been here a long damn time, and I ain't ready for my career to be over. We're a team, damn it. And we need to start acting like it. Do I make myself clear?
Stephanie and I have put every single thing that we have on the line. It's everyone is on the line.
It'll be one match, winner take all. The WWF lives or the Alliance will live.
The World Wrestling Federation will wipe the Alliance off the face of this earth.
Vince McMahon will see the WWF die.
And here we go, the music package. The Booker T, Kurt Angle, RVD, Stone Cold, all part of the Alliance, versus The Big Show, The Dead Man, The Undertaker, Kane. My goodness, what a team. The Rock. Kurt, it's Hall of Famers everywhere.
There are a lot of Hall of Famers in there. A couple of future Hall of Famers, too.
Yeah. Well, let's set the stage because they're continuing with the musical package, and then we're going to get into every one of your entrances as you come down the aisle. So we're going to start in Raw. It's Baton Rouge. You main evented against Shane McMahon, and you submit him to the ankle lock, and RVD hits a 5-star frog splash on you from the apron to the floor. And then at SmackDown in Mobile, RVD gets a win over you to earn Steve Austin a title shot against you with help from Shane McMahon hitting you in the head with a chair while you have RVD in the ankle lock. And during this time, you're working with Steve on all the house shows, including pinning Steve in Winnipeg with the Stunner. What was that experience like for you?
Working with Steve was awesome. He is so underrated as an in-ring worker. I think because his character is so strong. I've said this before. He is known as the ass-kicking, beer-drinking, redneck, badass, Stone Cold Steve Austin, but nobody really appreciated his in-ring work. He was really good in the ring. He was such an in-ring general, great in-ring general. He improvised when he had to. One of the best workers I ever worked with. I learned a lot from him.
And you said it right there. You learned a lot from him. Was it mostly in the ring, or maybe did you have discussion with him outside the ring, post-matches, pre-matches, or was it just kind of by seeing how he conducted himself in a match?
It was all the above. I learned so much from Stone Cold, how to do pre-tapes, how to do promos, how to do matches. He had more an effect on me than anybody in the company.
No doubt about it. He not many like him at all, if any. Stone Cold was the man for sure. And you would drop the title to Steve on Raw in Indianapolis on October the 8th. Why such a quick turnaround, you think?
Well, I don't know if you knew this, Paul, but I said this before on another podcast. What happened was 9/11 occurred, and I came up with an idea to get a booster shot in the arm of our country.
Sure.
By winning the world title from Stone Cold, the American hero winning the world title from Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was a heel at the time. And I thought that this would give the country a little uplift after what occurred in 9/11. And I went to Vince and I told him about it. And Vince said, well, you're going to have to convince Steve. So I had to call Steve and convince him to give me the title. But you know what? I explained it to him and he said, I'm on board. He said, let's do this. He
Mm.
was really cool about it. And you know what? He was supposed to have a nice long title run as a heel, and I interrupted that title run. So I was very grateful to Steve for doing that.
So you knew going into it, hey, this is to really give us a kind of that, oomph, if you will, with the whole patriotic feel, me being the champion, but I know this isn't going to be for long.
Yes, it wasn't going to be for very long, a week or two at most.
Mm. Well, you dropped the title, and then at SmackDown the next night, it's announced that you'll get your rematch with Rob Van Dam included against Steve Austin at No Mercy. And it seems odd, though, that it's a three-way, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, it definitely seemed odd, but RVD was getting so much momentum. It didn't matter whether he was a heel or a face. He was with the Alliance, but fans clung to Rob. They loved him, and there was no stopping him. We had to put him in the main event with us because he was getting so hot.
I was a big RVD fan. I felt like he brought so much energy and a unique wrestling style. Did you enjoy working with Rob?
Yeah, he was great. He was a stiff son of a gun. So am I.
Oh, there you go.
Stiff as hell. But Rob was great. His skill set, what he was able to do, he was a high flyer, and at size, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I became a fan of his watching him in ECW and always thought that his style would translate to WWE. It feels like there was some opposition against him, maybe in the back. I don't know, but I'm glad to see that he finally got his rub and push in WWE, and now he's a Hall of Famer. So,
yes, he's a Hall of Famer, and he deserves it.
Well, the WWF would then make its return to New York after 9/11, and you defeat William Regal with the help of Mick Foley to stave off Taz's interference. What was it like returning here with a lot of the New York Police Department and the fire department in person for the show? That's pretty cool.
It was an absolute honor to be able to perform in front of them. What they did, sacrificing for us, especially the city of New York, saving lives, coming to people's aids, doing everything they could to help the city during 9/11. It was an absolute honor and a privilege to perform in front of them.
Stone Cold has made his way out. He's got that big eagle belt, which, by the way, that's one of my favorite title designs, that big eagle, which you carried too.
Yes. That's one of my favorites too.
Do you have any titles in your personal collection? Any titles saved?
No, I don't, but I have my one Wildcat belt that you have. I'm getting one. They're making me an extra one. So
there you go.
6, not only 5. There are going to be 6 of them because I will have one.
This perfectly timed cheap plug for the Wildcat title belt, the Kurt Angle Hero belt. But
Still
man,
available.
Four available outside of the one that has already sold. I have here on my shelf. Kurt's getting one. But man, that big eagle belt is iconic. Conrad owns one of them. I don't know if it's that particular one there, but he definitely owns one of the big eagles. And man, it's just, to me, was a beautiful belt.
It is beautiful. I love it.
And Big Show makes his way to the ring. We have Earl Hebner refereeing this match, and Howard Finkel bringing all of you down. So just a lot of talent, a lot of classic personalities here, part of this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. I loved Howard Finkel. He was one unique man.
Any fun Howard Finkel stories while we see him in the ring? Do you remember anything personal, any personal stories with Howard?
No, not really, but he was just, he was just different. I mean, he went to a different beat of a drum. He just was an odd individual, but I absolutely loved him.
Yeah. Well, Kurt, at No Mercy on October 21st, and by the way, for those that maybe are listening to this, introductions are still happening for folks to come out to the ring. Everybody's got to have their music play, right, Kurt?
Yeah, and probably 2 minutes each, which is crazy.
We're at No Mercy on October 21st, and Austin pins RVD to retain the title after you hit Van Dam with 4 Germans and the Olympic Slam. This is one of those matches that probably would have been better if it was a singles between you and Austin or you and RVD. Am I right? Do you think that would?
Yeah, the match would have been a lot better. Triple threats are complicated as it is. There are timing issues, but Steve was a ground worker. Rob Van Dam was a high flyer. Their styles really clashed. I was kind of in between, but I would have enjoyed a singles match with each one of them rather than the triple threat.
Undertaker, the American Badass at this point, he's coming down to some Limp Bizkit, which, by the way, I loved. I love that whole American Badass. I love the music.
It's not quite as good as the Undertaker entrance, but it's pretty damn close.
But you know what? It's not a bad runner-up, if you know what I mean. So
I will say this. He has two of the best entrances ever in WWE. Number 1 and number 2.
there you go. Who else can say that they have two of the greatest all-time entrances? Well, so we talk about the match there at No Mercy. The very next night on Monday, October 22nd, you win the U.S. title over Rhino, your buddy Rhino, your traveling mate. Why the change? Why the shift? You lose the world title. Now they're pushing you, and some would say maybe down to the U.S. title. Is this a downgrade in your eyes?
Well, that's a tough call. I mean, after you win the world title and then you win the U.S. title, yeah, I would consider that a downgrade. But anytime you win a title in WWE, it's prestigious.
Right.
You have to carry it with honor and dignity. And regardless of whether you were world champion prior to that or not, it doesn't really matter. You just have to hold that title like it is the world title. Make it mean something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. That's and for a few years recently, that's what's been missing from some of those titles, the Intercontinental and the U.S., is that giving it the prestige that it deserves. So
yeah, definitely, they've been missing on that for a while now.
Well, Kurt, that brings us as we see Y2J make his way to the ring. Which, by the way, at 51 years old, he's still doing it and getting it done, which is just unbelievable.
He hasn't missed a step. He's 51. He's still going like he's 25. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. So we move on to Raw. It's October the 29th. We're in Louisville, Kentucky. It's Freedom Hall, and this is where you have the big heel turn, and you join the Alliance. Did you know this was coming?
Yeah, I was told the week before that I was turning back heel, joining the Alliance, which was kind of a disappointment for me because I wanted a nice long run as a babyface, but I totally understood why they did it. And it was a good spot for me. It really was.
Do you remember any details of it? Do you know who told you, why the decision was made? Do you remember anything kind of behind the scenes that you can share?
They told me why they did it, and it made sense. I mean, they wanted me to be the mole in the company and get involved in the Alliance and kind of spy on them and help the WWE win the match, which is what eventually occurred.
So after 9/11, we want you to be our American hero, but then 6 months later, we want you to be our Benedict Arnold and turn and be a mole in the company. I get it. Okay.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, I love professional wrestling.
It's wrestling for you.
There you go. Were you, and by the way, match is underway here. Rock and Austin going at it in the corner, only like they can. Rock throwing the haymakers. Were you worried about going back and forth? Did you think this was going to hurt you as far as people and accepting you, with the change so quickly?
You know what? I worked as a heel most of my career, so it really didn't matter. As long as they kept me in the top storylines, I didn't care how much they switched me. I felt like I was the MVP of the company. I was their utility guy, and they would put me where they needed me. And that's what they did. They did that quite a bit.
Kurt, there's no doubt about it. MVP for sure. At this point, you they know what they have in you. You're in a Hall of Fame caliber match. You've already won the world title. All this in 2001. I mean, this is incredible. So we're on the Monday, November 12th. Edge defeats you for that U.S. title that you had just won. It's in Boston. Kane's music distracted you. And then in the very next night, it's one of the all-time classic endings to a SmackDown from Albany. The Rock and Chris Jericho take you and Steve Austin on, and it ends with the big 10-man schmaz with every member of the elimination match coming out and hitting their finishers. And we're setting up the big Survivor Series match here. And this is fun. I mean, Booker T's in this match, and but man, I gotta say, as a fan of wrestling, and all the hopes and dreams we had as kids for what would it be like if WCW ever invaded, or if WCW's best went against WWF's best, what would that look like? And then this year happened, and
yeah.
But some of the big guys didn't come over. We didn't get that dream.
No, you're absolutely right. Some of the guys didn't come over yet, and it was kind of disappointing. I mean, you do want the top stars there, but there were enough of the top stars from WCW and ECW to actually make a team. So it wasn't that disappointing.
Yeah, it was just the fact they had to blend in some of their own to those team members to kind of make that happen. That I think that's where, great talent in this match, but it just felt like it had to be blended with original WWE talent to make it work.
No, you're right, and it sucks that there weren't as many WCW guys that came over at that particular time. But we did what we had to do at this particular time.
You're right. Well, Kurt, here we are. This is the Survivor Series. It's the 15th presentation of the Survivor Series. We're in Greensboro, North Carolina. Attendance here is 10,142 fans, which, according to the Observer, is about 50% capacity. Although while you and I are watching it here, it certainly doesn't look that way. It looks like it's got a pretty well attended. And I want to, we'll go through what Meltzer had to say about the match real quick. And it's pretty lengthy here. He says, we have Team WWF beating Team Alliance. So you have The Rock and Undertaker, Kane and Chris Jericho, along with the Big Show. And they defeat Rob Van Dam, Booker T, Shane McMahon, Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle in a losing promotion has to fold elimination match. This match goes just shy of 45 minutes. And as we witnessed before the match, Vince gives that big pep talk where he's talking about all those WWF veterans like Buddy Rogers and Jerry Graham and Andre the Giant and Gorilla Monsoon. And then he brings up The Rock's grandfather, Peter Maivia. And so that kind of gets everybody's juices flowing. But Meltzer would go on to say, good action from start to finish. The story of the first fall is Alliance members were constantly ready to be pinned, but Shane kept breathing, breaking up the near falls. As I read that, that's exactly what just happened here with Rob Van Dam and Chris Jericho. Shane runs in to do that. Undertaker, as would be the theme of the evening for him since he was doing a clean job somewhat early, didn't do hardly any selling. The finish saw the Big Show come in very aggressive after a hot tag, but was taken down, and Angle gave him the Angle Slam. Booker gave him the Axe Kick. Van Dam gave him the Frog Splash before Shane pinned him at 12 minutes, 42 seconds with an elbow off the top rope. The second fall was everyone kill Shane. Kane used a choke slam. Undertaker used a tombstone pile driver, and Jericho pinned him after a lion salt. That happens at 14 minutes, 30 seconds. And then there was some secret heat, by the way, afterwards on Shane, because not only of how lame his firing on Raw was, but because he took everyone's finish the night before, including a tombstone, a move that is basically unofficially banned for regular use. And he was helped out, but then didn't sell anything the next night. So there's that little nugget in the Observer. After Angle came back in from stretcher jobs and didn't sell on the next TV in the ring, it's just not a boss's son problem. So any comment about that, what Meltzer had to say there about you not selling?
Yeah, you could be nitpicky about it, but it was actually the next night. And yeah, I do understand that you're going to have soreness and injuries from the matches. So he does make some sense. He really, you can't deny that.
Hey, listen, Kurt, by the way, and they're on Conrad's other shows that he does with Jeff Jarrett and Jim Ross and some of the other guys, Meltzer has a lot to say, and they shit all over it. So if there's something I read that Meltzer says, man, just let him have it with both barrels if you don't agree.
But you know what? He actually isn't too bad. He's pretty good at what he does.
Oh, all right. So give him the Kurt Angle rub, Dave Meltzer. I see there. All right, there you go. Well, a lot of fans have kept up with their wrestling knowledge from Dave Meltzer. So for some of the bad that people see, there's a lot of stuff that he's informed us with over the years. So I like it. So then we're on. Meltzer goes on to say the third fall saw Van Dam pin Kane after basically a one-legged thrust kick off the top rope. That happens at 18 minutes, 21 seconds. Undertaker then destroyed all 4 remaining Alliance members all by himself for several minutes. As Undertaker was bouncing everyone around, Austin gave him a stunner, and Angle pinned him at 20 minutes and 3 seconds. This left 4 Alliance members. That includes you, Kurt, RVD, Van Dam, and Austin against just The Rock and Chris Jericho. Rock would pin Booker in 22 minutes and 33 seconds with a roll-up. Next fall was the Jericho Van Dam program. Van Dam got a bunch of near falls before Jericho pinned him clean with the breakdown, a move that usually, when he doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't look right. And then a month ago, Jericho looked buried deep once again while Van Dam was the rising superstar. Now Van Dam is buried deep, and Jericho is being pushed as the next guy in the top rung until they give up on him like they always seem to do. Well, we would know Jericho would close out this year strong. This left Rock and Jericho versus Austin and Angle, and with the exception of 2 messed up spots, one with Austin and Jericho having a total miscommunication, the other with Jericho and Angle having it, and Angle killing him in response with a clothesline, which, by the way, I can't wait to see here later. Technically, it got very sloppy during this fall. Rock got the fall on Angle with the sharpshooter in 31 minutes, 52 seconds. I need a breathing machine. Good Lord. Austin was bleeding from the mouth at this point, apparently from a slap to the mouth by Jericho. A couple of near falls before Austin pinned Jericho with a sloppy cradle in 34 minutes, 30 seconds. This left Rock versus Austin for the Survival. Crowd was so hot, as they always were for Rock and Austin. Jericho's mad about losing, immediately hit Rock with the breakdown, but Rock kicked out. Undertaker comes out and yells at Jericho. They brawled around the table. Austin used the sharpshooter. Rock used the stunner and had the match won when referee Nick Patrick pulls referee Earl Hebner out of the ring. Austin then used the rock bottom, but Rock kicked out. Austin decks Patrick and tried to get Earl Hebner in. Hebner was bumped. Austin hit Rock with a stunner, but no ref. Angle, our Olympic hero, shows up and hits Austin with a title belt, saving the day for WWF, and Rock scored the pin with a rock bottom. And here we go, Kurt. 8 months after WCW died and 10 months after ECW died, their names within WWF were officially taken off life support and allowed to die with no dignity after a branding manslaughter. He gives the match 4.5 stars, though.
Wow, impressive. This was one of the best Survivor Series elimination tag matches in history. It really was. I mean, there were a couple of, missed spots, but for the most part, this is a 10-man tag.
Yeah.
You have a lot of Hall of Famers in here, and they all work together as a unit. It was a really good match.
Kurt, I'm still over here trying to get my oxygen back. That was a serious Meltzer read there. But, man, there's we talked about it as we started this. Hall of Famers everywhere. But, Grilling JR episode this past week covered this specific pay-per-view. Now, they walked through kind of the entire card, and Conrad recently said on Grilling JR, in business, timing is everything. And JR's point was the timing just did not work out for all this, unfortunately, for this whole invasion angle.
What does he mean the timing did not work?
In terms of just the performers that weren't available contract-wise, getting back to the point earlier.
Yeah.
There were a lot of egos at this time, too.
Well, you know what? There were no egos in the WWE. These guys worked together really well. When we went over this match, nobody was, being an a-hole about anything. Everybody was on the same page. And everybody agreed. This is the best group of guys I've ever worked with.
I'm glad you said that, because that was something also Jim Ross talked about. He talked about the egos, but he mentioned Pat Patterson being one of the guys that could wrangle everyone all together.
He did.
Talk about that. Talk about Pat Patterson's influence on this.
Well, when Pat would come up with ideas for the matches, which he did quite a bit, nobody ever turned down his ideas because they were always so good, and everybody had so much respect for Pat. And I believe the reason why everybody was on the same page is because Pat was our agent. And Pat did a tremendous job. He came up with a lot of these finishes. He was really good at this stuff. This is what Pat Patterson did best, and he was the very best at it.
Yeah, no, that was JR's point too. He said, it was a team effort, but Pat Patterson was always that one guy that every one of these guys respected because of his track record, what he's done putting matches together in the past. And if there was anyone that they would all listen to, it was him. So I love to hear that.
Yeah, it was a smart move having Pat Patterson as the agent.
Talk about being behind the scenes. So you're all lined up, all ready to go. Talk about that. Do you remember any of that behind the scenes? Was it a moment of, hey, man, let's go out there and kick ass? Was it? And you said there were no egos at this point, right?
Everybody was on the same page, and everybody wanted to, blow the roof off the joint. And we all were, working together. You can't have a match, a 10-man tag elimination tag match like this without working together as a unit. If anybody's not on the same page with you, the match is going to get messed up pretty quickly.
Kurt, one of the things I noticed as I was watching this earlier is there are times where you're on the apron and it appears like you're stretching here and there. Are you dealing with some stiffness or an injury around this time? Do you remember?
I had a little hamstring pull, but I was trying to keep it warm while I was on the ring apron.
Ah. Is it tough to mesh everyone's style into this as Shane comes off the top with the elbow on the Big Show? Is that another kind of...
You have 10 wrestlers with 10 different styles. Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's not easy to adapt to. You're getting a new guy every 30 seconds that you're going to wrestle in front of or perform with. So it gets a little complicated, but everybody had their own style, and it was but everybody is professional. Everybody's a pro. They know what they're doing. So we were able to make this work.
If there's someone, Kurt, who's watching this match right now, which, by the way, I know there are quite a few active pro wrestlers that listen to this show and are ad-free show members and watch along with us here, but maybe they're trying to break into the business, or they're a current wrestler, what could they learn from a match like this? Or is there some things they can take away as far as wanting to add to their repertoire, to their game, or working with guys at this level? Is there anything that stands out to you as you watch this?
Well, I think for them, they need to look at the very top guys, how they're selling, how they slow the match down and pick the match up, pick up the pace, see when they're doing it at what particular times, especially Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold. Those guys are really good at their craft. And, if you want to learn from anyone, you learn from them.
Mm. We see here now we're at the point where The Undertaker has Shane McMahon set for the tombstone, delivers the tombstone. Is he going to pin him or what? No, Chris Jericho's not going to come in.
They want to give Shane the ultimate supply of finishes.
Here it is. There's that lion salt that we talked about earlier. 1, 2, and 3. Shane's out. And they show the locker room, and everybody's into, this is my buddy Mike Chioda back there cheering. Oh, I love it. Love to see it. And Kurt, now it's you and Chris Jericho. Talk about working with Chris. I know you've mentioned that you can't believe he's still doing it, but let's talk about you and him in the ring and what you appreciate or enjoy about working with Chris here.
Well, I started my career with Chris Jericho, him and Chris Benoit. Those two, I was bouncing back and forth with both of them the first year I wrestled on TV. And Chris was so talented. What he was able to do in the ring, on the microphone, the guy had the whole ball of wax. He had everything you had to be a huge superstar. And there was no doubt in my mind he was going to end up being a world champion in WWF or WWE, which he eventually did. And I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, he would go on to become the undisputed champion later this year. One of the shows just worked with JR to do Chris Jericho 2001. And man, what a talented performer. I got to ask, as I'm watching this, though, who determines who's the point man on breaking up pins in this type of a match? Is it whoever's closest or what?
No, we rehearse it before the match, and everybody has to make sure they get their breakup. When there's a count, if they don't break up the count and the person gets pinned, we're in a very difficult position because that person that got pinned wasn't supposed to, and they were supposed to continue on. And we're going to end up doing a spot with that person eventually. So, if you miss the count, if you don't break up the count, you're going to mess up the whole entire match.
Okay.
It has to be rehearsed.
You say you rehearse it. Is this a walkthrough in the ring? Talk to me about this rehearse. What does this rehearsal look like?
Pros, man. We just talk about, hey, you got to break this count up. And we didn't rehearse, go through the match, for each spot. We just talked about the match and what we were going to do in it and who was going to do the breakups.
There's so many in this match, though, Kurt. It's like, how do you remember it all?
Sure. Timing is everything in a 10-man tag elimination.
Buddy, I would lose track. I'd need something written on the palm of my hand or a cheat sheet stuffed in my
Yeah.
My goodness, because there's a lot going on here. I mean, there's tons of breakups. So kudos to all of you.
Yeah, everybody did their part.
Wow. Have you ever been in the ring with someone missed and didn't kick out, and the referee just gets stuck, and it's kind of like, what the hell's going on?
No, I've never been in the ring when someone had to do a breakup of a count. I was in the ring when I actually got pinned when I wasn't supposed to.
Oh no,
that was horrible.
What happened? Do you remember?
It was my program with Booker T when I was stalking his wife or whatever. And Booker T beat me the first match, and I was supposed to beat him the second match. We were going to have a rubber match, a third match. And the second match, Charles Robinson pinned me by accident, and we never got to a third match because Booker won the first two.
Oh,
it ended our program quickly.
So what does that look like? Do you go between you and Charles? Is that once you go back behind the curtain? Are you guys having a little talk? Or
man, I just said, hey, that wasn't the fault. He said, I know I messed up. And what can you do? I mean, you know,
this sounds way too nice, Kurt. Give us the juice. Did you put him in the ankle lock? Did you make him tap out?
No, I didn't do anything.
Come on.
It didn't really matter to me because I wasn't crazy about the storyline anyway. I was uneasy about that whole storyline with Booker T and Charmel. I didn't do it. I wish I would have spoke up and turned it down, but I never turned down anything that Vince proposed to me.
Which, that's interesting. Now you say, looking back, if you could do it all over again, maybe you would have spoke up and turned things down. Do you wish now, looking back on your career, that there were other times that maybe you would have spoke up and said things, or is that one in particular that just stands out in your mind?
Maybe at times, but you know what? I was pretty happy with the way they utilized me. So there weren't a lot of times where I had to speak up, and for the most part, I never did. And I was always the nice guy. And I don't know if that helped my career or not, but that's just who I am.
Yeah, I'm just curious now if you're like, man, maybe I should have handled that one differently, or I should have told Vince no, you know, just like you said with the Booker T.
I probably should have told Vince no on the Booker T angle.
Yeah. Well, here we go. All hell has broken loose. For those that are watching along with us, Undertaker has cleared the ring, and This is a lot of fun. We have some folks that have written in some questions as well that I want to get in and make sure we ask as we go through this. You just took the big boot from The Undertaker. We're going to start with Lindsay. We love us some Lindsay, ad-free show member, and she said, just for fun, Kurt, what would the name of the company become if the Alliance had one and put WWF out of business?
God. Well, we know that's not going to happen. That was not going to happen. Vince McMahon was going to make sure it didn't happen. But let me see. How about FUV? FU Vince.
Oh, FUV. I love it.
Promotion name.
I think that could be a cool t-shirt. FUV. The
Yeah.
Kurt Angle Show. Kurt's like, no, do not put that on my t-shirt.
Yeah, don't do that.
WCWF, World Championship Wrestling Federation. Oh, there you go. I don't know, man. That's a fun question, though, Lindsay. Hey, if some of you want to comment after listening to the show, what are your ideas for what it could have been, the company name? I think that's fun. Here we go. Another question from a wrestling historian. He's another friend of ours, an avid listener of everything, Kurt Angle Show and ad-free shows. He said, do you wish you could have stayed babyface longer? And you talked a little bit about that already here earlier.
Yeah, I wish I could have stayed babyface longer. I never had a long, steady run as a babyface. A few months at a time, even when I was babyface in 2005, 2006, I was still kind of a heel. I was still saying a-hole things and being rude to the fans. But what got me over was my work skill. I mean, the fans started to appreciate my work in the ring, on the microphone, and they kind of turned me baby on their own. I didn't want to be a baby face, but at that particular time I did. But I always switched back and forth. I never had a long reign as a baby face, always long reigns as a heel.
Did you enjoy being a heel and saying a-hole things?
Yeah, you know, I was comfortable there. I was, you know,
You're comfortable saying a-hole things. I love it.
It was the opposite of my personality, and I like doing that. For some reason, playing another character on TV, a completely different person than I am at home, I felt more at peace with that.
Good save. It's completely opposite of who I am. I'm Angel Angle. I would never say a-hole things. I love it. All right, good stuff there.
A-hole.
I love it. Oh man. Another question it says that comes to us from Keegan. He said, "Was the plan always for you to be the one to turn on the alliance at the conclusion of the match?" Great question.
I don't know, but I believe so. And I think the reason was Vince McMahon always wanted me to end up being a heel. He loved me as a heel. He enjoyed watching me as a heel. He always put me in that situation. And I'll explain something. As a mole, when you switch and you're a double agent as a mole, so you're actually really a heel. But I did save the company. I saved the WWF from WCW and ECW, and it was what was I trying to get to here? Um, Not only that, but what I did and what Vince made me do after I saved the company was he had me demanding thank yous from all the wrestlers. I went to The Rock and said, "You should be thanking me. I saved the company." And that kept me heel. So, the whole mole situation, you are a heel, but not only that, but I was demanding thank yous from the WWF wrestlers afterward.
Hmm.
And that's why I end up being a heel still.
Yeah.
James been a babyface saving the company, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And there are reasons for that.
James Grunberg wants to know, was Kurt happy that the invasion angle was coming to an end? Were you kind of like, okay, this has run its course, or did it not make a difference to you?
I was tired of, I went from heel to baby to heel to baby to heel in like 3 months. And I just wanted to reset. I wanted to start a different program because this was like, my head was getting dizzy from all the turns. And I just wanted to do something new, something fresh.
We have some talented guys in the ring here, RVD and Chris Jericho going at it. And by the way, this is good a time as any. This match continues. Speaking of talented performers, something I wanted to bring up, and this is as good a time as any. Kenny Omega, talented performers, came out this week and said, if I were to name one more guy that was really an inspiration to getting me to where I'm at now in the ring, maybe it's Kurt Angle. Again, I just appreciate the real athleticism that goes into what he does without sacrificing that entertaining aspect. He was willing to do whatever it took to make a crowd happy, to make people laugh, to make people cry, but his capabilities were second to none. High praise from now a former AEW world champion, Kurt.
Wow, that means a lot to me. And what Kenny said, that, to be in that position, to be able to have someone like Kenny Omega look up to me, that's a true honor because the kid is incredible. What he's been able to do the past 10 years in professional wrestling over in Japan, here in the United States, he was the biggest star and the most talented superstar that never went to WWE. And he will go down in history as that if he never does enter WWE. But I mean, his success, what he's had in Japan and AEW, phenomenal. I haven't seen a talent like him in a long time. I would say that he's every bit as talented as Rey Mysterio. And he belongs on that upper echelon of talents. One of the greatest workers in the business today.
Yeah, and I know how highly you feel of Rey Mysterio.
Very high, yes.
So he's Kenny's actually, the word on the street is that he's going to be taking some time off to have a couple surgeries. So he's been beat up, and you know how that is. But he's going to have to get some. Yeah, I think during that promo he was getting a serious massage and a chiropractic adjustment.
I saw that, and you know what? It's a tough business, and you're going to have injuries, and you're going to have to deal with surgeries. And it's unfortunate because this is in the prime of his career, but he's going to have to do what he has to do.
Kurt, there you go. No, thank you for, I was hoping we could get some of your thoughts on that as that just came out this week. And here you are, you have Chris Jericho, one of Omega's buddies in AEW, one of his fellow EVPs, if you will, in the ring, wrestling around. Now Stone Cold enters the fray. As we watch this, again, I think it's important to point out we're here because it's Survivor Series season. And Survivor Series, as this episode drops, this is on Sunday, tonight, is WWE's Survivor Series, Kurt. And I don't know if you've been kind of paying attention to what's going on there, but I thought it would be fun as we watch this match together to throw out to you the card and maybe see if you want to give us some Kurt Angle predictions on the card. What do you think? You willing to do that?
Oh, yes, let's do it.
Ah, this is fun. Thanks for playing. You know, Kurt, you're such a good sport. I ask you about this stuff, and you're like, sure, why not? So
yes to everything.
it's like Vince McMahon all over again. I feel privileged. He's just saying yes. All right, so let's have some fun here. Again, this is a very lengthy match that we're watching along here, and it's a great match. This is a lot of fun. There's Austin and Jericho going out in the ring. But let's talk about tonight's Survivor Series. We have the Raw Tag Team Champions, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. He just goes by Riddle now. Versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. Who's Kurt Angle's pick? Is it Orton and Riddle or the Usos?
I would say the Usos, but I'm a big Randy Orton fan, and he's one of my best friends. So I have to go with Randy Orton and geez.
And Riddle. So
Riddle,
you're going
yes.
Orton and Riddle, and I am typing this out because I'm gonna keep track of this. This is gonna be great.
I have to say their pre-tapes, what they've been doing up until now, have been phenomenal.
Yes,
the chemistry they have, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, awesome, off the charts. I absolutely love it.
All right, so we got you for Orton and Riddle for that match. That's Kurt's angle on this one. Oh, do you like what I did there? Next up, we have Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. This is a traditional Survivor Series match. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina, their Team Raw, versus our friend, your pal, Sasha Banks, who we just had on the show last week, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and Toni Storm. That's Team SmackDown. Which team you got?
Team SmackDown. Team Sasha Banks. I'm all for
yes.
her. Yes. Love her.
How fun was that episode, by the way, last week with her?
Much fun. We had so much fun doing it with her. She told us some great stories. It was pretty incredible. I think she's so talented and such a smart individual.
Yeah, had a lot of fun with Sasha, and some of what she shared about she's ready to tango with Trish Stratus. It was all over social media. That and some of her comments about Ronda Rousey were out there too, bud. So.
Planted the seed. She definitely planted the seed.
I like it. All right, so we have Kurt Angle taking Team SmackDown there. Let's move on to the Survivor Series men's match. And as we're watching along here, it's Austin and Chris Jericho in the ring are still going at it. You get the hot tag. You're making your way back in the ring now. We have Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, who you just said, big fan of, and Bobby Lashley. That's Team Raw. Okay, a lot of studs there. They're taking on Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King, Xavier Woods, Happy Corbin, and an unknown final member who we don't know yet. Who's Kurt's pick?
I'm going to say Team Raw. I think we're going to win that one. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Lot of, when you talk Finn Balor, Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Lashley, a lot of talent on. Not to say there isn't on the other team, but Kurt Angle is going Team Raw.
But
yeah.
I'm a Lashley fan and Rey Mysterio fan. So
there you go.
Come on.
All right. Now we have Austin in the ring. He's got Chris in a side headlock. That moves us to the United States Championship match. Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Here we go. Who do you got, Kurt?
Nakamura. I love his passion for the sport. I love his character. I think he's hilarious.
Good stuff. Yeah. Shinsuke, man,
great worker too.
Shinsuke's a guy came in hot in NXT. They bring him to the main roster, with a push at the beginning, and then he kind of tapered out, and I'm hoping he's headed back that way, You
know what? Every time he comes out, the fans go crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that the company hasn't utilized him more the way he should be utilized. I'm really surprised. But I think it might be a little bit of the language barrier. That might be one of the reasons. But he covers that with the way he portrays himself, the things he says. He doesn't have to know English. He's entertaining as it is. So I'm not sure why they don't utilize him the way he should be utilized.
Yeah. And with his strong style, he could be kind of a wrestling machine, a badass, and he's entertaining too. So, all right, this one, Kurt, is interesting, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to it. This is the one I'm interested in seeing, as now you're in the ring, and the Rock's just about ready to put you in his in the sharpshooter. And we'll see. Oh, look at the pain in Angle's face. Angle taps out.
Heels always tap out.
There you go.
There's a secret for everyone.
All right, Austin comes in, and now they're battling out. And so let's get to this match. It's women's champion Becky Lynch versus SmackDown's champion Charlotte Flair. And Kurt, I don't know if you've been keeping up at all, but there is some serious, it feels like
serious heat. Yeah.
Is this real? Is this storyline? And they're blurring the lines right now for sure.
I think it is. But I am a big fan of both of them. But I absolutely believe that Charlotte Flair could be the best female wrestler in the world, if not the best wrestler in the world, period. That
wow.
Men, yes, I'm admitting that right now.
Let that sink in, everybody. Charlotte Flair is Kurt Angle's pick. Not only the best wrestler, women's wrestler, but the best wrestler, period.
Best wrestler, period, in the world.
All right, Kurt goes with, but man, you got to feel like that's the one that's bringing everybody into.
That's the one that people are going to pay for. That's they're buying tickets for. That's a big ass match.
That has, and this week Ariel Helwani sat down with Becky Lynch, and she said some pretty straight up things in that interview. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I don't blame her. I don't think they like each other very much.
I don't think so. So, final match as we start to get in towards the end of this match here that we're watching. Austin going for the pin on Chris Jericho, the WWE Champion Big E versus Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
Oh man, I would love to see Big E take it because I think we need a new prominent guy that should be up there. And I love that he's African American. I believe that that's a good thing for the company. But Roman Reigns is the man, and I think he will continue to be the man. And I think he's going to win this title too.
All right, there it is. Kurt Angle picks Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Shinsuke Nakamura, Team Raw for Survivor Series Men's, Team SmackDown for Survivor Series Women's, and he's got Orton and Riddle for the tag match. So there we go. Some fun little Survivor Series.
All right, Paul, you have to buy another one of my Wildcat belts.
Yeah, you can tell my wife that, pal. You might have to give her an ankle lock to make her want to do that. Oh, you should have seen the conversation just to get the one I got.
I could imagine. Yeah.
Here we go. So let's get back into the action here because we're towards the end of this match, and I want to get back to some fan questions here. So one of our folks writes here, Richie says, do you think switching to the Alliance halted the momentum you were making as a top guy, or do you feel it added an extra dimension to your character?
I think it might have affected my position as a top guy. You want to be a baby face for a good period of time. You want to be established as a baby face longer than 2 or 3 months, like I was. And I believe that affected my ability to be a top guy, even though I was a top guy still. And being the mole in the company and saving the company was a great position to be in. But I think that, from a, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? From a storyline perspective.
Yeah.
I think that the babyface thing, I should have been there longer. I should have had a nice longer run.
Right.
I believe that I would have been established better as a babyface and been more of a top guy if I did that.
Standing backstage in Gorilla watching Rock and Austin has to be electric for you, right? I mean,
oh man, anytime those guys faced off, it was like you're talking about the two biggest stars in the history of the business, and they're going at it. It's electric every time they do it, and especially here, this is winner takes all. WCW Alliance versus WWF. And you have these two. Of course, you're going to have your two biggest stars in the company going at it for keeps.
Oh, yeah. Now, who tells you that you're going to be turning on Austin at this point as you're backstage? Or, I mean, I'm sure you know that going in, but who's communicating with you?
The week prior, they told me I was going to be the mole and that I was going to end up saving the company. And so, they poured it on me so that I would agree to it.
I'm sure.
And, the thing is, I didn't care as long as I was in one of the top storylines, and I continue to be in one of the top storylines. And that's where they promised that, and they did that. They delivered.
Well, in my mind, but it's really hard, to distinguish babyface and heel sometime around this time of the business and of wrestling.
Right. It wasn't black and white anymore. It was gray. You had that gray area. Is he a baby? Is he a heel? And, sometimes you couldn't even tell which one you were.
Kurt, we had another fan write in with a question, and his name's Jason Bayless, and he said, had Austin not went to Vince, requested to turn back babyface after No Mercy, does Kurt think he'd be the one Rock pinned?
Yes, I would have been the one Rock pinned because I was the next heel in line. I was second to Austin in line with the Alliance as far as an order of importance. I was he was the captain, I was his sergeant, So it would have been me. So, but I honestly believe Stone Cold might have ended up pinning me. So, it depends who was going to be the one. If Austin turned babyface, he would have been on the WWF team.
Right.
So, it might have been Austin that pinned me instead of Rock.
Did you like working these? Yeah, I agree. Did you like working these Survivor Series style matches, like these elimination tags?
You know what? Every once in a while, yes, but for good, no.
Like you would never permanently win it. This month's Survivor Series match.
There's so much that goes to it, and you have to remember your spots and everything. You can't just go out there and feel the match and let it flow and improvise at certain times. Everything's planned, and you have to make sure you're on time for everything. So it's a very difficult match to put together. It's a very difficult match to do.
Speaking of plans, Kurt, you mentioned, hey, I kind of knew the plan for what was supposed to happen here about a week out. Did you know the plans for after this, what was supposed to happen after the storyline ended at the pay-per-view, kind of like what was supposed to roll out the next week or month or so?
No, I didn't. As long as I was in one of the top storylines, I didn't care. So that's all they promised me, and that's what they gave me.
So as long as you knew that, you were good, and just whatever.
Yes.
Whatever you feed me the next time I show up, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Do you think this is one of your favorite matches? I mean, it's held up over 20 years, right?
You know what? This is one of the best Survivor Series elimination tag matches in history. I really believe that. The match was that good. And it had everything in it, all the bells and whistles, everything you had to do, including a chair shot.
Chair shots, yep.
Which is what I did The Rock at the end, which I shouldn't have said that yet, but I'm sure that everybody that's watching this right now has already seen it.
That's right.
Oh, I that's it. Yes.
AJ Espinoza asks, another member ad-free shows, big fan of the Kurt Angle show. He wants to know your thoughts on the fans who didn't understand that you were playing a mole in Team Alliance. As the Raw after Survivor Series, you were booed, even though you were the one who helped Team WWF win. What were your thoughts on the fans that just didn't get it?
Well, like I said before, when you're a mole, you're a double agent. You can't be trusted. A lot of people, when they hear mole, they don't want to be near the mole. But not only that, but after the match was over, the next day we're celebrating, and I'm demanding thank yous from all the WWF superstars, which kind of forced me into being a heel again. Even The Rock said, Kurt, you think you did me a favor? You hit me in the head with a chair. You could have killed me. And now you want me to thank you for that? And, so the fans kind of turned on me again and made me a heel because The Rock made me a heel.
And the Rock
a heel, demanding thank you. So
yeah. Rock has Stone Cold in the sharpshooter here, Earl Hebner. He is right in Stone Cold's face, seeing if he'll give up. Now, The Rock had just come back from, I believe, the Scorpion King. It was either and I got to find out which movie it was, but I feel like he was filming one of the Scorpion King movies after WrestleMania, and then came back for this storyline.
Yeah, perfect timing, huh?
Yeah, perfectly timed. And he and Stone Cold continue to go at it. Kurt,
these guys were so special. I mean, both of them. I consider them the two best of all time. I mean, these two guys, for both of them to be in the same era is pretty incredible, because there's really when you have one big star, there's usually not room for any other top star. They both deserve the top spot, and they both had top star honors. So, when they say it's not big enough for the two of us, it was big enough for both of them, because they both deserved it.
Is there one of the two of these guys that you wish you could have worked a little bit more with one-on-one as you watch them?
You know what? I worked a lot with both of them. Be honest with you, including the house shows, I probably worked 250 times with each of them.
Wow.
So these guys, these two, I work with more than anybody else in the company.
Mm.
So no, I don't think I could.
You had your fill. You got a little bit of experience. That's great, man. I mean, and now look at you.
I learned so much so quickly. That was my first 2 years. The Rock was my first year that I had programs with him, and Austin, my second year, I had programs with Austin. So these two I learned a lot from.
And think about your career, Kurt, not only what you were able to do and accomplish, but how many wrestlers can say what you just said. I worked with The Rock and Stone Cold probably 250 times each.
Yes, and I beat both of them for the world title. That's a pretty big honor.
Yeah, that's something that you don't hear a lot of people talk about, but that's something that distinguishes you from a lot of other wrestlers that not many can say.
You're absolutely right.
Austin here for the pin. Nick Patrick has come in, and my goodness, what a character he is. He has dumped Earl Hebner outside. Stone Cold's busted open, by the way. He's cut his lip or something here. He's bleeding from the mouth.
Yeah, he hit his mouth on something.
We have a fun final question from the fans, and I'm going to ask it to you now, Kurt. And this is the last fan question. It comes to us from Bo Glidden, who, by the way, followed your collegiate and Olympic career. I believe he was a high school wrestler as well. And he asks, how do the Angles plan to spend Thanksgiving? Any fun traditions? I love it.
No, we're gonna have the family over. My in-laws and my brothers. We're just going to have an Angle United happy Thanksgiving. Nothing special, but, spending time with my family during the holidays, which, I hardly ever did during my career. Kind of nice being at home during the holidays now. It's really cool to spend time with your family on special events like that.
So that's cool. So everybody comes to Kurt's house, and has it been like that for the last couple of years now since you've been, stepped away from the wrestling business?
Yeah, we bounce it around here and there. Here I come to the ring.
Oh, yeah. We'll get back to turkey talk. There's the title shot on Austin, the rock bottom. And where's the referee? Here comes Earl. 1, 2, and just like that, ECW and WCW
WWF
have been flushed down the toilet.
Yeah.
And Stephanie is just traumatized. There's a party back in the WWF locker room. You got Ron Simmons smoking a stogie. Oh my goodness. Wow. And Kurt Angle was part of it.
A lot of fun. We had a lot of fun putting it together, and we had a lot of fun performing it. The finish was a little, confusing, but, for the most part, I saved the WWF, and The Rock got the credit for it.
Well, Kurt, there you go, man. That was a lot of fun today. Appreciate you sitting through this and going through and watching that match. That was a classic, a lot of fun. So what I will say before we get into your chicken snacks is I hope, and Kurt hopes, that all of you, we talked a little bit about Thanksgiving, that all of you have a fantastic Thanksgiving with your families on behalf of the Kurt Angle Show. As you heard, Kurt here plans to enjoy some time with the family, and we hope that all you do as well. But, man, what a way to kind of kick it off as we head into the Thanksgiving week, reliving one of the most exciting Survivor Series matchups of all time.
It was a lot of fun. I would do it all over again if I could.
There you go. Well, listen, before we head out of here, it's important to make sure we make everyone aware of the chicken snacks, Kurt. Let's talk about chicken snacks. We know everybody's going to be eating turkey and cranberry and stuffing, but they need some snacks too, right?
You got to have your snacks. Chicken snacks, you can get them at physicallyfit.com. 11 different delicious flavors. Kung Po, Buffalo Wild Wing. We have cinnamon swirl, honey mustard. bunch of flavors, incredible taste. We also have them in plant protein called Snack Smart. You can get them at physicallyfit.com. And if you can get a discount by typing in AnglePod 20, I believe. Or is it Pod?
That's correct. AnglePod for 20% off at physicallyfit.com. That's your hookup. Holla if you hear me. You want to go to physicallyfit.com for all those great chicken snacks. Kurt, by the way, the feedback that I see on that is unbelievable. It's on social media. I have friends that have bought and texted me and said, hey, man, this stuff is legit. It's no joke.
Deal, man. Their tastes are incredible. They're very high protein, low carbohydrate, very healthy for you, and they're incredible snacks.
Follow the show over at The Angle Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Also, let's talk about KurtAngleBrand.com, man. It's Christmas time, and people are looking for gift ideas. Tell them about what they can find over there, Kurt.
You can get Kurt Angle merch. That's right. We have cowboy hats, birthday cards. We have milk cartons. We have autographed photos, T-shirts. We even have cameo video messages. You can request videos from me. Go to KurtAngleBrand.com. You can also, if you have any item you want me to sign that you have at home, send it to the address on the website, and I will personalize it as long as you send a prepaid postage envelope and a small donation for charity. I will return it to you with your personalization and signed by me.
Man, that's awesome. And if you're a Kurt Angle fan, it doesn't get any better than that, than getting some really cool merch with Kurt Angle's signature. And speaking of really cool Kurt Angle merch and stuff that's rare air, that is the championship belt that he and I talked about earlier in this episode. And you can get it right now. Very, very limited quantities left. I'm talking 4. If you're watching on video right now, that's 4 fingers I'm holding in the air. And over my shoulder is the Kurt Angle belt that I own. That's right. I was put in an ankle lock submission by my wife to purchase that, but it was well worth it. And I now own it, and it is autographed by Kurt Angle. The certificate of authenticity is autographed by Kurt Angle. You can find it at wildcatbelts.com. If you want to check out pictures of it, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram at Wildcat Belts.
As well. So
What's that, Kurt?
I'll be posting this week as well.
Awesome. And man, I'm telling you, Kurt's getting his belt with his fancy leather, and they're numbered. And man, I can tell you, it's well worth it. This is rarefied air, as I said last week, as far as people that are going to get to own this prestigious belt. So check it out. Well, Kurt, listen, next week it's Turning Point 2006, where you and Samoa Joe face off again in a rematch of your classic that we discussed a few weeks ago, which sees Joe even the score with you and makes it 1-1. We're going to talk about the reaction coming off that first match, the build to this match, and how it felt losing just 2 months into your TNA run. And if I know Kurt Angle, he doesn't really like to talk about losing.
No, I don't. I like to be undefeated all the time.
But Kurt, that's going to do it this week, my friend. And listen, again, we hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family and friends. We'll see you again right here next week on the Kurt Angle Show. Have a great week, everybody.
Everybody.
See ya.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.